Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to something a little bit different. So I've got my 40th birthday this year, so I thought what better way to enter midlife than with some sort of crisis, and this is it, my first motorbike. So in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about this bike and then we'll hopefully go on a little bit of a ride and I'll talk through some of its features. So first of all, what is it? Well, it's a Bullit Bluroc 125, so 125cc engine, which makes it learner legal. This particular brand of motorbike, Bullit Motorcycles, has had a rebrand recently, so they're now called Bluroc, which is confusing because the model is Bluroc. So this bike is now sold as a Bluroc Legend if you're going to look it up online. So Bullit Motorcycles, or Bluroc, are a Belgian company, but they have all their bikes made in China. So this is a Chinese bike and subsequently makes that very cheap. And people are a little bit worried about Chinese bikes, especially with sort of reliability problems and build quality. And from my experience so far, I can certainly see what people are concerned about. But we'll talk a little bit more details as the video goes on. But I think this bike is a little bit of a confused identity. So Belgian-designed, Chinese built, but with a Union Jack on the side down here. But I think what that's kind of referring to is kind of the style of the bike. So yes, it's a sort of small learner legal bike, but what it's trying to do is trying to capture some of those classic bike looks from British motorcycle manufacturers, sort of post-war era, sort of 50s and 60s. And I think it does look quite good. I think I really like this leather seat. I love the sort of British racing green tank and side panels there, and yeah, and I love the knobbly tyres and stuff. Makes it kind of look quite authentic, albeit with some modern twists. So it's got a digital readout here of the speed and gear indicator and that kind of thing. And I really like it. So I only did my CVT in November last year, so my bike experience is very limited, but yeah, having great fun on this machine. But yeah, very interested to see how long it lasts and how the sort of maintenance side of it goes with trying to look after it. So a little bit more information on this particular bike. It's second hand, so it's a 21 reg, and it has done or had done about 600 miles when I got it. And one of the things which made it even cheaper for me, so this bike brand new is about £2,400 and I bought this for about £1,300, but it's because it's been in a accident already. So it's a Cat D or Cat N write-off, very minor damage to the front mudguard there, which they've just kind of cut off just to make it safe again, and it's all been repaired and everything. And the other addition that someone's done is put this Givy top box mount on the back, which I don't really like the look of, but I haven't had a chance to unbolt stuff and kind of get rid of it yet, but it might come in handy. You might be able to strap a bag to it or something like that. The things I've had to do to this bike to make it sort of a bit better are to tighten up some of the screws. Again, sort of Chinese quality showing a bit there. The screws kind of tend to undo themselves, so in the service manual it does say to give them a bit of a crank every few hundred miles, which I don't mind doing, and it gets you to know the bike a bit more. The other thing with this bike is that the chain was really loose as well, so I've tensioned the chain to the specifications in the owner's manual, and I think that's about it really. One of the mirrors was a bit dodgy and I've fixed that. One of the things I've got to do, I've got the oil for it, is to change the oil, give it a bit of an oil change, just to make it run for a bit longer, because I don't want it to break just because I haven't maintained it or whatever. Bad points about this bike, this particular one, is that the exhaust is starting to go slightly rusty, so I've got some high temperature paint that I'll try and give it a bit of a repaint at some point. And the chain guard has got a little bit of a chip off the paint, which is starting to make that go slightly rusty as well. So I think that's the main concern with these Chinese bikes, is that the metal isn't great quality, so you really do have to garage them. I'm going to keep mine in the garage and spray it with some of that ACF 50, is it, the motorcycle oily stuff, to kind of keep your suspension free of water and things. Try and look after it. But yeah, I'm just interested to see how long these bikes last. Everyone sort of recommended Hondas and stuff, which I think are a lot better reliability wise, but then that's also reflected in the price. So as I mentioned, this is a 125 motorbike, and like all of the more modern Chinese bikes in this sort of style, so you've got this particular make, and you've also got Mutt, who are based in Birmingham, who churn out sort of slightly higher quality bikes like this, but they all seem to have this Suzuki GN125 based engine, which in theory means that it should be quite reliable from the engine side of things, but where the bikes kind of differ is like the switch gear and the quality of the materials used in other places. One of the things I do like about this bike is the display. So I did sort of mention already, it's a digital display on here, and it shows things like you know, revs and speed, as well as your trip and odometer and fuel, and has a neutral indicator. But as a learner, one of the things I really like about it is the gear indicator. So making sure that you're in first when you come to a stop is one of the things you have to learn as you kind of get on a bike. You don't want to try and pull away in second, which I've done a couple of times and stalled it, but having the gear on the screen is really good, just to make sure you're in first as you come to a stop. The brakes are I don't think they're combined on this one. I think the later models do have combined braking system. It's just a normal front and rear brake, and it's a 5-speed manual gearbox, just the normal like 1 down and 4 up type thing, and twin shocks at the back. So I don't really know too much about motorbikes, but it seems to be fairly standard fare for this kind of learner bike. But what I like about it, it doesn't look like a scooter or a moped or whatever. It looks a bit more like an actual bike, and it's probably the kind of style bike I'd like to ride once I pass my proper bike test. Sound wise, it's not going to blow anyone away. Let's just turn this on. It just sounds like a normal 125, which actually, you know, it's not going to alert people to your presence, which is one of the dangers of riding a small capacity motorbike, especially with a quiet exhaust. As people won't hear you coming, but it has got LED headlight surrounds and sort of halogen on there, which is on all the time, so they can at least see your lights and that kind of stuff. Other things on this bike, it does have a centre stand, which some of them don't have. They just have a kickstand, so centre stand's really good for working on it. And it's also got the whole doesn't start if you've got the kickstand down, and the normal sort of safety features that you'd expect. So that's kind of it for a bit of a walk around. I think the only thing left to do now is to take it for a bit of a ride.
There we go. Right, so a little bit of a wobbly start, but as I said, I'm very, very new to this, and my riding experience amounts to about 60 miles. I've got this bike with about 600 miles on it. I've done 666 now, according to the odometer. So I'm very, very new and getting to grips with all the controls and everything like that. But it's been really good, actually. Learning something new. It's just been really fun, and like a bike, it's just great fun on the road when people aren't trying to kill you, and yeah, just nice to learn something different, really. Oh, cancel indicator. So this bike then on the road is very similar riding experience, like speed wise, to the Honda MSX that I did my CBT on, or Honda Grom as they're known. It's not going to set any records in terms of speed, but I do find that the controls on this are nicely spaced out, where the Grom was a little bit more cramped. Yeah, I did find that my knees are a bit high on the Grom, so getting like the rear brake and the gears is a little bit harder than it is on this bike. But yeah, I just really like it. One thing I do notice about this bike compared to the Grom is neutral. On the Grom it's harder to get into neutral, and that means then that when you go from first to second, it's a lot smoother, because you just go straight through neutral into second, whereas on this one you do sometimes get sort of stuck in neutral because it's a bit more of a click there. But yeah, that's just about it really, the sort of riding experience in this bike, so I can't really comment because I haven't really had any experience in anything else. But yeah, these are just local roads to me. They're, you know, quite narrow country lanes, so I have to keep my wits about me about things jumping out in front of me and unexpected stuff, but I do get onto the main roads relatively quickly where there's a lot more space and things, but there's also more traffic, so where it's quiet around here I can practice a bit more of my manoeuvres and junctions and stuff without fear of too much traffic, either me holding them up or driving into me. Well, I just can't believe it, you know, I'm actually riding a bike on my local road, something I didn't think I'd ever do. I'd never really shown any previous interest in motorbikes, I suppose, but just a lot of watching Long Way Round and stuff kind of got me a bit inspired, and Harry's garage with his Dakar bike collection kind of got me thinking that maybe it would be a nice thing to learn, and I'm glad I have. It is great fun. Like I said, learning something new is always good. And that's why I think even these, you know, cheap Chinese bikes, they might not be actually any good quality wise, but you know, for a relatively small amount of money I've been able to get myself a bike and all the gear I need, all the protective clothing to actually get on two wheels and you know, start being part of that motorbike community. And in the future, once I've got my full bike license, I just can't wait to get onto some different type of bikes, you know, either whether it will be sort of classic styled ones like this, albeit with a bigger engine like a Royal Enfield or something like that, or even think about adventure bikes or anything. I'm not really interested in sports bikes. I do think that's probably not really a good thing for me to do. I think I probably would end up killing myself on it, but yeah, just something small cc, bit of fun. Can't go much wrong with that, I don't think. But anyway, this is my first ever motorbike video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Something a bit different to what I normally do, and I'm hoping to bring you some more motorbike content in the future. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you again very soon. Bye bye.